Hey, it's Webs here, and I have a beast of a deck for y'all. Boar Priest, which is a deck I've definitely tried to make work a few times in the past and just ended up not releasing the deck. But with the new support through Amulet of Undying, this deck actually functions relatively well. The idea behind the deck is to use as much cards as humanly possible to copy your Elywnn boars so you can get access to the Sword of Thousand Truths. The ability to do such has been greatly improved with Amulet of the Undying, since boar is your only death rattle minion. As long as you get a few copies of these boars dead before you use your Amulet of Undying, you are usually able to get the boars online by like turn 6 or 7, but that's best case scenario. Worst case scenario, you can also use some of the beast synergy within the deck to copy other cards such as your Scorpids or your pack meals. For mulligans, you usually want to keep Elywnn boar, of course, in your opening hand, or if you don't have the Elywnn boar, you usually want to keep Amulet of the Undying in your opening hand, just because this allows you to actually have a turn 1 play besides the boar. Otherwise, you want to keep cards such as Insight or Palm Readings in your opening hand, just because these two cards in combination will allow you to draw into the Elywnn boar and make it cost 0. The card, of course, that you never want to keep in your opening hand is Pack Meals, just because you won't get its effect triggered if it is in your opening hand. With that being said, let's get into the games. Alright, time for game 1 against Mage. This opening hand doesn't look too terrible. I'm just going to mulligan away the Meal and the Rally, as those cards are both useless in the starting hand. Drawing into a Hysteria and a Thrive in the Shadows. Thrive in the Shadows is a good draw. Hysteria is a really bad draw for this matchup. At least turn 1 will have the Amulet of Undying trade in. And don't worry about my rank right now, because it's the beginning of the month. It's super low, and I haven't actually had the opportunity before this to play that many games. So their quest line, that's not really a shock. Mage didn't really get that much support for a new deck. I really wish they would give Mage some type of big spell to actually make Big Spell Mage a thing, but it seems like they're too afraid to do that. We're going to grab the Amulet of Undying, then we're going to have our Insight triggered, so we can use that next turn, and then Amulet of the Undying trade in probably. Drawing into a Loot Hoarder. This game should demonstrate the reasons why I end up removing Loot Hoarder from the list. Trading in the Amulet of Undying. The draw power was nice, but having an additional Death Rattle minion when you're focusing on the boars is kind of bad. They're just going to do their normal questline mage things. We really need a boar right about now. And our Hysteria, which is useless. Going to grab the Palm Reading. The next turn we'll be able to use the Palm Reading to discount all our cards in our hand and generate another spell. It's kind of insane that they keep drawing into the Ignites so consistently. Drawing into Raise Dead, which doesn't really do us anything here. Drawing into Rally, and here I'm going to use the Raise Dead just to get a minion on board. I don't want to do that, but kind of have to at this point. And I'm going to copy it too, just so we can draw into more cards. I really don't care if they actually kill these. It is kind of disappointing that they're going to be able to trigger their questline a bit more, but if they can kill our Loot Hoarders, then that's good for us. Drawing into our second Loot Hoarder. Drawing into the Amulet of Undying. A pack meal that only gives us 1 copy. Drawing into Rally. Drawing into Scorpid. Might as well grab the Feast, I guess. Here I'm thinking if I can buff up one of our minions enough so it sticks, we should be able to get ahead of our opponent. But they're just going to fireball it. I guess that is the smart option to do, but I don't know why poisonous is that big of a worry for them. Finally drew into the boar, and now we can actually just kind of go off a little bit here. Next turn, we should have at least 3 boars on board, unless they kill one of the boars. And even even then we should actually be able to get all 7 on board using a rally or Tearing Gore and Gift of the Luminance. Or we could use the Amulet of Undying and get 2 more right here. Or not. See, this is why I said I cut the loot orders. This game was actually the deciding factor on that. We're going to draw a bunch here and get 2 more for our boar count. Drawing to another boar and then another farmer. Thank you for killing the Tearing Gore. Now we get 2 more boars. Going to use rally.
Hey, give me that.
And then we complete our quest for the sword. And in this position, they can't actually win the game. They don't have enough mana to actually play their questline reward, even if they complete it. And they don't have enough mana to play basically any spell in their deck. This matchup is definitely a game of patience, because if you can get the sword, you can actually instantly win before they can complete their quest. Because you're not playing enough minions outside of the board to actually allow them to complete their quest line as easily as some other matchup. We're 1 off of lethal, which kind of sucks. But what can they do about it? And we just win with the 3rd tick of our sword. Alright, time for game 2 against Druid. Getting another amulet to start off with, which is good. Going to mulligan everything away actually here besides the amulet. The Hysteria could be good here, but I don't know how well it'll be. The palm reading is always good to see though, and Thrive in the Shadows also. The farmer is kind of annoying, but oh well. Drawing into a rally. Drawing into Pack Mule, which is actually pretty good for a 2-turn play. Going to use the palm readings. I'm going to grab the Shadow Word Death just in case here. Overgrowth, so there's some type of ramp druid, clown druid, or whatever you want to call it now. Deck keeps changing names, but it's the same deck at heart. Gonna grab the insight. Really could use a boar right about now, to be honest. Dreaming Drake. So that's a good target to use Shadow Word Death on. Might be a little bit too early, but oh well. Gonna coin an insight out, and hopefully we can get a boar here. Nope. Panther. Not bad, but eh. If I really wanted to, I probably should have removed more minions and just had more draw power in other ways, but oh well. I tried that before and it did not work out well at all, so I wanted to try something different this time around. Trying to decide if I want to heal so I can draw 1 off of the Panther. And this should guarantee us lethal on the Dreaming Drake with the Hysteria. That's kind of scary though. We don't want them to be able to copy a bunch of their cards, or a bunch of our cards for that matter. Guess the weight. So I think there's Survival of the Instinct Druid with the Owl package, I guess. Drawing into Scorpid. So now here we kind of have a decision to either go down the route where we try to make as many copies of our Scorpid as humanly possible, or rely on the boars that we haven't even seen this game. While the boars would be funny, the Scorpids are the better option. So they're going to kill our minion and our Scorpid, but luckily for us, we have other ways to bring it back. We're going to use Raise Dead, gets us 2 pack mules. We get a Scorpid here. And then we're going to give this one Divine Shield and make another copy, because why not? As long as we have Scorpids, we can actually outpace them, hopefully. And it's not like Druid has any easy way to deal with a bunch of minions. Especially with Divine Shield right now. Alexstrasza, that's not really a shock, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter. I think this is the turn that I just made the decision to make as many Scorpids as humanly possible. Like, I could still go for the boar strat, but honestly, without seeing any boars, this is the safer bet between the two. Because it takes a complete clown turn to be able to come back from this position in their place. Like, it isn't impossible, but at the same time, highly unlikely. I wonder if they're actually even playing the clowns. Because it looks like it's more of a N'Zoth deck than a clown variant. Amulet of the Undying. Completely useless since we haven't had any Death Rattle minions yet. Same thing with the Tearing Gore Fiend, I guess. Might as well trade in the Amulet, grabbing a Scorpid instead. Man, I would hate to be the druid in this position, especially when you're facing a deck that's kind of a meme deck, and then you're playing something that's kind of relevant, to be honest. Sure, it isn't taunt aggro, but it's still relevant enough. Scrapyard, Colossus, trying into another Scorpid. Let's see what we get off these. The Hysteria would have been funny, but playing the second Scorpid, grabbing the Void Shard just so we have lethal if we don't get it here. Because it's unlikely they'll be able to deal with everything on board unless they're playing Yogg, I guess. That's their one solution. And we just win. Alright, now that we're through the games, let's discuss why I built the deck the way I did and how well the deck did. So this is one of those decks that I've tried to make work multiple times throughout the few months that I've been making content. However, it never really felt like it was good enough to make a video on. And thankfully, due to Amulet of the Undying, you actually get a consistent way to get multiple copies of the boar out at a single time on the board, which is great. And another turn 1 play within the deck, because before you didn't really have any other turn 1 play if you didn't have the Elywnn boar starting in your opening hand. This at least gives you another opportunity because you didn't want to clog up the one spot for a card like Rally. I also did learn from my past mistakes with a few other card choices in the deck, so try to have Loot Hoarder as the 2-drop within the deck in a couple of the other variants. However, with the addition to Amulet of the Undying, it ended up clogging up Amulet of the Undying, so I removed it for the Mana Feeders, which actually improved the consistency of the deck, because then you have an additional target for Northshire Farmer, which was actually pretty cool, which put me on the idea of including other beasts within the deck, such as the Venomous Scorpids or the Pack Mules, just so you have more than just the boars as targets if you need other things, as seen in the second game where I actually won the game just by having a shit ton of Venomous Scorpids. So the deck actually does have ways to win the game without focusing on the combo, which is actually kind of cool. Card in this list that might look a little bit weird is Against All Odds. This card actually allows you to AoE wipe out all your boars if you really need to, and get rid of a bunch of your opponent's big taunt minions if they have an odd attack, which is pretty good. Hysteria is in here for a similar reason. If you played a bunch of boars on one turn and you really want to get your weapon this turn, you can actually make your opponent kill all your boars on your own turn, thus allowing you to complete the combo quicker. Overall, if you've been trying to make the boar work in some type of deck, whether it be priest, druid, rogue, or something else, this is probably the deck for you. It's really fun to actually play, and I'm actually happy with the results. And it's doing something different than just making a Mr. Smite deck on day 1 of the mini set being released. So with that being said, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, bye bye.